where the rubber always meets the road, I think. Actually, I'm not even sure what that means.
Heartland Newsfeed Radio Network, live at heartlandnewsfeed.com.
Welcome to our world. And then I told you who sang that, and I said...
Jerry
Reeves.
Willis? Jim Reeves. Jim Reeves. We were looking for Jim Reeves.
Welcome to our world.
Still don't know it. No.
What? Won't you come on in?
No.
Anyway, well, our world today is about the ag news.
You know, an interesting story here. Imagine what this must be like, or must have been like. An Illinois farmer got to view in person the State of the Union address on Tuesday night.
And not just any farmer.
No.
One of the nicest guys that we have that has represented Illinois Corn Marketing Board, Illinois Livestock Development Group, continuously giving back.
That's interesting because now he's headed to U.S. Grains Council meeting this
Tom
week as
Mueller.
well. Yeah. And speaking of Deanne Bloomberg, who used to be Rock Island County manager, Tom is from Rock Island County and was invited by Representative Bustos to D.C.
And just to do full disclosure, Deanne was who hooked us up with Tom.
Oh, yes. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
You.
By the way, hey, coming up this weekend, tour of the 49th Annual Ag Mech Farm Expo, February 9 and 10 at Western in Macomb. Visit their Facebook page, Facebook.com/WIU Farm Expo.
Plus, we'll have lots of market commentary. Our good friend Tony Dunker from Quincy and Advanced Trading is along in just a few moments. Stay with us.
RFD Radio Network's Rita Frazier connects rural routes for you. Rita delivers passion and reliable information to listeners on the RFD Radio Network. Her radio career spans close to 3 decades. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I grew up on a small farm. My job today allows me to connect with people from all walks of life and experience opportunity every day. I get to talk about what I love, farming.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
We know you want the best for your family. We do too. That's why Illinois farmers continually look for new ways to help. We're working with Mother Nature to preserve water, protect land, and provide food. From our fields to your table, we want what's best for all of us and for future generations to come. Learn more about conservation efforts at ilfarmersconserve.com. Preserving our water, protecting our land, providing our food.
This message brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau.
And now, another episode of Ill Soy Advisor Profitability Radio, brought to you by the Illinois Soybean Checkoff. IllSoyAdvisor.com is your best source for soybean management information. With Tim Skates, who farms with family and extended family in White and Gallatin counties. They use irrigation from groundwater wells to help the crop along. Irrigating soybeans requires some close management for crop development.
We usually try to irrigate around 30 to 40% of our soybean acres each year. It's a little harder to predict the response of the soybeans to the moisture that we give it. You know, they need it at several different growth phases, nearing when they emerge and close to when they flower, and then again when they're filling the pod. It's when, we'd like to have it, and we'd rather rely on the rainfall, but we don't always get it, so that's when we try to supplement with the irrigation systems that we have.
Skates says there's plenty to watch when irrigating soybeans. He doesn't want to create an environment for fungus that would later hurt the crop. Irrigating too much can use costly energy, and it could create erosion and nutrient loss.
We do have some soil moisture probes that we use to kind of guide us, find out kind of where the moisture is, if it's just in the upper crust of the soil or if it's down around the root system, so we can kind of gauge about how much water we are getting down to the roots, and that way we can either water more or less, kind of depending on kind of what that guide tells us.
Tim Skates farms in White and Gallatin counties as part of a multiple family operation. Tim's a former ISA board member representing District 16 in southern Illinois. Remember, soybean management pays. Visit illsoyadvisor.com for more recommendations. That's ilsoyadvisor.com. Funded by your Soybean Checkoff. Welcome back to RFD Illinois. I'm DeLoss Yankee. State of the Union address was Tuesday night. And in attendance from Illinois was Tom Mueller, Rock Island County farmer, Farm Bureau member there, past chairman of the County Farm Bureau. and was invited to attend the State of the Union address by his representative, 17th District Congresswoman Sherry Bustos, was believed to have been the only farmer invited to attend the event, and also had a great experience beforehand, a lot of meet and greets at different events, and a lot of folks wanting to know the farmer's perspective on what's going on in the Heartland.
We were able to meet her for lunch yesterday and went over to the congressional dining room and had lunch with her and got to visit during that time. Then went back to her office for some more conversation, and she had a couple of meetings she had to go to in the afternoon, and that gave me a break, and then I got back over to her office about 4:30, and then we proceeded to go to Senator Durbin's office for a reception that he was having there, and then we went back to Congressman Bustos' office and did a conference call with the press, and then we headed to Speaker Pelosi's office for a reception there before, and then went right from there to the gallery. At the various receptions, I got to meet a lot of other congressmen that Congressman Bustos introduced me to, and she would introduce me as her guest, and said that I was a farmer, and the first thing that they would ask me is, how are the tariffs affecting you? They were all very concerned about that. And I said, yeah, the tariffs are a real problem, and we want to get things settled and get to some free trade as soon as we can.
Tom Mueller in Rock Island County got to sit up on the front row in the balcony to see just about everything going on down below for the State of the Union address at the invite of Congresswoman Bustos. And while he was there, not just to talk about trade and tariffs, but also promoted the need for infrastructure improvements for agriculture and for rural America. National Cattlemen's Beef Association launched yesterday a new campaign highlighting critical questions about production of lab-grown or fake meat, as they call it. The Fake Meat Facts campaign will shine a spotlight on the many unknowns that the federal government must clarify before finalizing the regulatory framework for these emerging products. You can learn more online at beefusa.org. Stay tuned. Read is up next on RFD, Illinois.
The USDA, National Agricultural Statistics Service, or NASS, recently mailed a survey to Illinois farmers that gives your farm a voice. You can help provide important data that will shape the future of nutrient laws and conservation in Illinois. Look for your NASS survey in the mail in early February. If you receive the survey, take a few minutes and complete it, and return it in the prepaid envelope. Together, we are making a difference in Illinois water quality. Visit ilfb.org/NLRS for more information.
Attention corn farmers. Your corn checkoff dollars are working with the U.S. Meat Export Federation to grow red meat export volumes. Because when we're exporting beef, we're also exporting corn. The beef industry consumes 28% of all corn fed to livestock, plus additional corn in the form of DDGs, a co-product of ethanol production. Now that's what we call working an angle. Your checkoff is working corn from all angles. Because of the Illinois Corn Marketing Board, your profitability is our bottom line. A message from the Illinois Corn Checkoff.
We're back here on RFD Illinois. I'm Rita Frazier. This week, the Illinois Dairy Summit meetings being held around the state. Good turnouts at the Kaskaskia event on Tuesday, Bloomington yesterday, and a good turnout expected today at Highland Community College. A good program, according to Nick Anderson, Illinois Livestock Development Group.
Well, it really kind of focuses on the dairy industry, and really when you get down to it, it's about the market and depressed prices and how do dairymen survive. So a lot of the topics talked about managing your dairy herd, really managing to the components that we make on the dairy farm, and that happens to be milk fat and milk protein, and that's where the dollars come from Illinois. There's some incentives with, being in Illinois and some other incentives that are out there for being locally. But Mike Hutchins does a great job talking about nutrition. How do we source those Illinois products that are the least cost to produce the best milk? So some great insight there as always, and Mike does an excellent job around the state to do that. So that's part of the Dairy Summit thing that everybody looks to. But some other great things. Doug Yoder, our friend Doug Yoder, was there to talk about revenue protection, and he does a very nice job laying it out. And anybody that is looking at that program, and he talked about some of the stats out there on how many folks have signed up, maybe about 6% of the Illinois dairy market has done that. But Doug has a great kind of spreadsheet, for lack of a better word, that you can plug your numbers into, look at the futures price, and look at revenue protection. I think some of the basic numbers out there, we can protect our revenue in the dairy market for about 14 cents a hundredweight. That's, even though that's a pricey insurance program, it's protecting your revenue in the market, and Doug did a nice job showing people how they engage in that program. There are also some other protection scenarios out there for dairymen to look at during these tough times, and unfortunately the dairy market hasn't recovered to kind of heal us up. So we got to find ways to stabilize our farms, whether it's through feed, protection. Dr. Dick Wallace was there about, when we retain heifers, how do we synchronize them? How do we keep the best genetics there as we're transitioning through this tough time? So Dairy Summit's a great time of the year to pick those tips up and look to the future and see if we can see some insight in how we're going to survive in this dairy market as it exists today.
Nick Anderson, Illinois Livestock Development Group. Well, another Western Illinois alum is Tony Dunker. We talk to Tony quite often on the Livestock Report and Inside Ag, as she has a good perspective of grains. Tony said this week an important one for catch-up with those reports coming out from USDA on Friday.
But Friday will be a key day in the grain markets with 2018 ending numbers being released at 11 o'clock Friday morning, and we've definitely been waiting on these numbers to be put out for the last month.
Maybe a couple of areas that you'll be keyed into when those reports are released.
Definitely going to be watching for the supply side of things to see if what they have done with that final yield number and that final harvested acreage number. We're also going to be watching what they do with the usage, the demand side of the equation going into that report. So this is an important report. It kind of sets the tone for the next couple of months until we get to that March 31st planting intentions report.
On top of the Chinese trade talks, we understand that they were back in the market early in the week.
They were back in the market. We're happy to have them back in the market, but I think they're just kind of tidying up what they said they were going to be picking up. And so we did get confirmation out on that. They finished up the bushels that they had committed to purchasing. Obviously, we're looking forward to additional purchases and purchases across the different grains rather than just in the soybean market as well.
So your take home for us for the grain markets this week.
It's an important time to be making sure that you're looking at your positions, how you're positioned going into this report, what you have in the bin or storage, and also taking a look at the 2019 crop that you're getting ready to plant. So there's been some opportunities out there in corn for sure. Who knows what's going to happen in the bean market, but just make sure you're comfortable walking into that report because we can obviously go either direction coming out of that.
We also talked about the livestock industry, the cold weather and movement out in the country.
Oh, we've definitely had a couple of rough winter weeks. Happy to be kind of getting back to the normal temperatures, although that has brought a lot of mud for guys that are calving right now. So it's a challenging time, but I think we all know that it's winter. Pork movement is slow right now, but we are sure getting hogs to market. We did have a couple of days where we were definitely tempered back that number that we were hitting every day there for a while. Beef movement has been outstanding. We have really good beef demand right now in the store, retail levels. So I think that's being reflected into the prices that we're seeing right now.
What about the government shutdown? How about livestock? Have we seen the reports catch up and anything there that we're sort of still playing catch up on?
We're definitely playing catch up on the cattle on feed numbers. We will continue to play catch up. They will release the January report in February. They will release the February cattle on feed report in March. And so by, hopefully the middle of March, we'll be caught up on all those numbers. But definitely playing catch up. And they're very important numbers that we get to take a look at every time. That January cattle inventory number is an important report. It's probably the most detailed report that we get for taking a look at calving and everything else in the cattle markets.
Shifting just a bit back to the hog industry, because you've been following closely the African swine fever, its impact abroad. and, of course, on our markets here?
Oh, it's been quite interesting. Yesterday, as I looked at the screen, I think it might have been the first time I have ever seen the hog futures have a starting numeral that was different, 5 different ways, with the February being in the 50s, the April in the 60s, the June, July in the 70s, August in the 80s. And so it's really an interesting time. In that October and December time slot for late 2019, we're actually just off of contract highs today in those months, yet the nearby is rather depressed compared to, taking a look at those further out. So it's an interesting time watching the hog pricing.
Tony Dunker, Advanced Trading in Quincy. We have a market outlook with DeLoss Shonky and an updated forecast coming your way here on the RFD Radio Network. This is RFD Illinois.
Let's check the markets on the RFD Radio Network. I'm DeLoss Yonke. We went a whole lot of nowhere on Wednesday, and we're expected to do the same today. Not going anywhere until 11 o'clock, and depending on the report, who knows if we'll go anywhere after that, but USDA will release crop production numbers on Friday at 11 o'clock. These are the reports that would have normally come out around the second week of January, but were delayed because of the government shutdown, so it will be tomorrow instead. Meanwhile, corn futures yesterday had less than 2-cent trading range, and soybeans only had a nickel trading range. Awfully quiet all day. March corn down 3/4, $3.80. May down 1, $3.88. December down a half cent, $4.03. March soybeans up a penny and a half, $9.21 3/4. May up 1 1/2, $9.35 3/4. November up 2 1/2, $9.63. Half a cent off the high, 4 1/2 off the low. Soy meal down $0.50, $309 even. March soybean oil was up 52, $30.90. Soybean oil continues to move higher. March wheat down 1 1/4, $5.26. July up a penny and a half, $5.32 1/4. Illinois direct hog market was steady Wednesday, $27 to $36 a hundredweight. Heavy sows also had a top of 36. In the futures, we had April hogs down 70 cents, 60.90, and April cattle down 47 cents, 127.15. March feeders down 65, 143.17. Fairview Sale Barn this week saw some high-yielding steers hit a top of 130 on Tuesday. Los Yankee RFD Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Dan Hicks from Freeze Notice Weather with the early morning weather update on the RFD Radio Network for this Thursday morning. A second weather system developed over the Plains states yesterday and moved quickly eastward. This has spread additional precipitation eastward across the Midwest over the past 24 hours, falling as a mix of precipitation in some west central and northern parts of Illinois and rain and a few thunderstorms farther southeast. Daytime highs yesterday ranged from around 30 in the far northwest corner of the state to near 60 in the far southern part of the state. As the system moves eastward and northeastward today, additional mixed precipitation in the form of some snow, sleet, and rain will fall over west central into northern parts of the state, where temperatures will be mostly in the 30s through the day. Farther south, rain and a few thunderstorms are expected today, and high temperatures will be as warm as the 60s to near 70 in the far southern part of Illinois. As the system moves eastward, colder air will start to return to the state, especially later today and tonight. This will change this precipitation over to a brief period of some light snow or flurries as this colder air moves southeastward. A few inches of snow could accumulate in the far northern part of the state into tonight. Farther south, though, any snowfall should be quite light. Windy, colder conditions will spread across the region tonight and tomorrow, with highs tomorrow in the teens and low 20s in the northern part of the state, ranging up to the 20s and low 30s in the south. Temperatures will start to moderate somewhat this weekend into Monday, with readings climbing back closer to normal. Dry weather is expected on Saturday. Then some additional snow is forecast over the northern and central part of Illinois later this week and into Monday, with some mixed precipitation into the south. Above normal precipitation is expected across most areas during the 6 to 10 day period. Once again, this is Dan Hicks from Freeze Notice Weather.
All Ag.
All Illinois.
All Now.
There are a lot of smartphone apps out there, but do they have what's important to us here in Illinois? The Farm Week Now app does, and it's always at your fingertips. All Ag, All Illinois, and 24/7 where and when you need it for free. Go to your app or Play Store on your smartphone, hit search, type in Farm Week Now, that's one word, and download it today. Brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau, where we're all about farm, family, and food.
Leading your family farm is what you know best. Paying bills, making marketing decisions, and leaving the farm better for the next generation. Farm Bureau needs you to lead our organization and champion our legislative priorities. Farmers will be working with a new governor, Congress, and General Assembly. Illinois agriculture only remains strong when farmers realize this power and continue taking charge of change. Join us for the 2019 Governmental Affairs Leadership Conference. This one-day event takes place February 19th at the President Abraham Lincoln Hotel in Springfield. Hear from keynote speaker Jesse Waters, co-host of The Five and host of Fox News program Waters World. Don't miss this opportunity to cover policy information, state and national legislative updates, and end with a legislative reception with members of the Illinois General Assembly. Register today and start taking charge of change. Contact your county farm bureau or visit ilfb.org/GALC for more information.
Farm Week and Partners Magazine editor Chris Anderson connects rural routes for you. Chris shares her 4 decades of writing expertise by making sure each edition delivers the best information. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I was raised on a farm in Champaign County growing corn, soybeans, popcorn, pumpkins, and poultry. My top priority is to inform, educate, and even entertain Farm Bureau members.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
That is all the time we have for this edition of RFD Illinois. Thanks for spending some time with us this morning.
You know, I was at Soybean Summit earlier this week.
Yes.
I heard a lot about the Quad Cities. You know, can you name the Quad Cities?
There's 4 of them.
Yeah, hence the name. Tovey, Bullpick, Kincaid, and Jeiseyville. Christian County, we say hello. That's not where you thought I was going, was it?
No.
That's exactly right, yes.
Look at you.
Yeah, from Country Financial, your farm is your family's legacy, part of your hometown heritage. While you work sun up to sundown to get the job done, we're here protecting the things you love every step of the way. Country Financial, learn more at countrycrop.com.
For Jim Taylor, I'm Rita Frazier.
I'm DeLoss Yankee. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining us here on the RFD Radio Network.
Hey, you know, a great way to reach farmers, reach those in agriculture, is through local radio. In fact, Rita, from the National Association of Farm Broadcasters, they have research that shows that farmers listen, 87% say they listen 3+ days a week, 74% say they listen